Our first speaker is Brendan O'Neill. Brendan O'Neill is a journalist and editor of Spike Online. He's a blogger for the Telegraph. He's author of the Green Satire, Can I Recycle My Granny? And 39 other eco-dilemmas. He writes many publications on both sides of the Atlantic. He has been variously described as an angry little boy by English Pen, a Marxist proletarian firebrand by George Monbiot, and a smug shite by Peter Tatchell. Ladies and gentlemen, Brendan O'Neill.
I love technology. I love technology because it has made human life so much better than it used to be. In the time when Jesus was skulking around the planet, the human population was about 200 million people. Today it's nearly 7 billion. And most of that growth has happened over the past 100 years. Human life expectancy has also rocketed upwards from a global average of about 25 back then to around 68 today. We are taller, fitter, brainier and freer than we have ever been before. And all of those advances are a result of what we call technology. They are a result of our transformation of the Earth, our efforts to make this planet more hospitable to humankind, our exploitation of nature for the benefit of man. Because if you look back at human history and ask yourself the question, what is technology? You will see that it is, in essence, the conquering of nature. Technology is the means through which we wring more from Mother Nature than she is willing to give us. We have used tools such as ploughs, sickles, knives, furnaces, ships, compasses and machines in order to plant, reap, mine, smelt, spin, weave and fly. Technology is our defiance of nature. Nature creates a canyon, we create a bridge. Nature forgets to give us wings, we invent the aeroplane. Nature refuses to tell us what uranium is good for, we experiment with it anyway and create a technology that can light up entire cities. Technology is the clearest expression there is of mankind's cockiness, of its refusal to live at the mercy of that unpredictable and violent beast, nature. But how different it is today. Today, the new technologies do not express anything like the pioneering spirit. Instead, they are tools for narcissism. Technology today is not about taming the world around us, it is about obsessing over our own inner worlds, our own emotions and our own fleeting feelings. Technology today does not encourage us to go forth and multiply, it encourages us to stay home and navel gaze. Where the old technologies were tools for exploration, the new technologies are tools of retreat. The most serious problem with the new technologies is that they invite us to lead busy and frenetic lives, but that they invite us to be meek and unambitious, to become estranged from the old idea of outward human endeavour. Ours is an era in which there is extraordinary hostility towards any technology which tampers with nature, alongside a wild, almost demented celebration of new technologies that merely allow us to preen and pamper ourselves. So drilling for oil, despite using some of the most remarkable technology created by man, is frowned upon, seen as the equivalent of raping Gaia. Say the word nuclear power to the average member of the chattering classes and watch them splutter on their macchiato. The word damn has become a dirty word, despite the fact that dams represent possibly the high point of human technology, where vast swathes of water, we master vast swathes of water in order to provide electricity to millions upon millions of people. All those technologies are looked upon as bad. All of them are high up on the list of the liberal elite's least favourite things. Meanwhile, the new technologies, which allow little more than flimsy forms of communication or hours of self-reflection, are championed. The iPhone is worshipped. Facebook and Twitter enjoy an extraordinary amount of cultural validation. The internet is seen as the greatest invention ever, give or take a few downsides, such as its Nigerian spammers and rampant pornography. Planet-altering technologies are demonized, mood-altering technologies are celebrated. Technologies that change the physical world around us, which force nature to reveal her secrets, are seen as evil. Technologies which allow us to retreat into a virtual world, to take refuge from physical reality in a universe of blather, are seen as good. Today, we even have the curious situation where activists utilize the new technologies as part of their crazy war against old-fashioned technology. So privately educated environmentalists use their iPhones and their iPads to organize campaigns against cheap flights and other white trash activities which they regard as harmful to the planet. Greenpeace makes full use of the internet to spread its unhinged propaganda about the dangers of nuclear power and oil exploration. The new technologies have been turned into weapons against the old idea that technology should remake the world according to humanity's needs and in humanity's image. Technology was once about humanizing the planet, increasing the human footprint. The new technology is about shrinking the human footprint. From wind power to quieter aeroplanes to electric cars, all the new technological breakthroughs are about reining humanity in, limiting his impact on his surroundings, making him a good virtual creature rather than a bad physical one. In essence, the new technologies facilitate our retreat from making history. They facilitate our backward desire to shrivel up and hibernate rather than to explore and expand. And of course, it isn't the technology's fault. We get the technologies we deserve. So in the 16th and 17th centuries, an era of when the spirit of exploration was strong, we got vast ships capable of traversing entire oceans. In that post-war positive moment of the 1950s, we got nuclear power and the space race. And today, at a time of great human meekness and fear and risk aversion, we get technologies that allow us to hide from the world and to hide from our responsibility to make history, which only allow us to reflect on ourselves rather than on the future of humankind. New technologies make a bad situation worse. The real problem is not that they turn us into super busy Twitterers or Facebook checkers, but that they flatter modern man's extraordinary level of historic laziness and lack of ambition.
Thank you very much. Excellent, excellent. Wow, please stop the crowd. That's Brendan O'Neill, Roger Highfield and Rory Sutherland for 3 minutes, your witness.
So Brendan, just talk me through what technology is so, modern technology is so heterogeneous. Where do you draw the cut-off between the old lovely technology that you yearn after and the nasty new narcissistic technology? I've got to get that clear in my head.
The key point is what people use technology for and what they create it for. And I think technology always suits the circumstances in which we find ourselves. So there's no reason why the internet couldn't be the most wonderful thing of all time, and even why the iPhone and the iPad and these other things could be great devices. But in an era in which people are obsessed with themselves, when we have kind of retreated from history and making the world anew, those technologies become tools of narcissism. So it's more a historic human shift, which then changes the nature of technology. But I think in terms of time, it happened sometime around the late 80s, early 90s.
What's wrong with a bit of flattering, a bit of preening and pandering? I want to be flattered.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but when it replaces everything else, that's pretty bad. And when you look at Twitter and all you see are all these crazy green people saying, "Oh God, there's another oil spill. The Fukushima accident shows that we can never have nuclear power." When you see in the new technologies a real hatred for what technology used to represent, that's when it becomes something problematic.
Well, I can agree with you to a degree, by which I mean that there is a dangerous technology which is it's just too damn difficult to build a railway or a road nowadays, so we'll all take our brightest minds and go off and build an app for something. And I think the obsession with all innovation taking the form of taking a miniaturized form is partly a product of the fact that in a NIMBYist age, it's simply too difficult to do anything that's visible or physical. Equally, as a possible Marxist, I'm not sure whether you are or not, might you acknowledge that actually the Soviet obsession with heavy industry took the same thing to the absolute opposite degree, where the highest form of existence was to be a lathe operator, even if the large metal thing you manufactured was no use to anybody.
Okay, well, the Soviet Union wasn't Marxist, it was Stalinist. There's a very important difference between those two things. No, the real problem today is low ambitions, low horizons, just a refusal to get to grips with the world we live in and to remake it in our own image. A good example is aeroplanes. The only developments being made in flying these days are to make aeroplanes quieter, because you have all these people constantly moaning about the noise of aeroplanes, to make them less polluting, because you have all these greens saying, oh, we can't have polluting planes, and to input email so that people in the sky can continue Facebooking and Twittering and being self-obsessed. There's no focus on making them faster, making them bigger, making them go further, making them better machines. It's all about the low ambitions, the low horizons, and technology molds itself around those low horizons, and that's what the new technology represents.
We're going to have to wind this up. One quick question. Quick answer as
there
well.
is a reason for that, which is called the law of diminishing returns, and air resistance increases at the cube of velocity. So at some point, we are right to switch our focus from speed to some other measure.
Okay, a quick response, please.
I don't think that's a good enough explanation. You know, Concorde was our fastest plane. It's now been decommissioned, and nothing has come to replace it. We need higher ambitions.
Thank you very much. Brendan O'Neill.